aorta and its branches. And there's a branch that comes off the dorsal aorta and runs over to the pectoral fin. You can see that right there. And that is the subclavian artery. Okay. And this is one that, again, we'll see in all jawed vertebrates. It basically supplies blood to the pectoral fin or pectoral limb. Okay. It's called subclavian because in mammals it runs right under the clavicle, and then it goes over to the limb. So that's the subclavian artery. Anterior ventrolateral artery. Hey. Okay. I don't know why I put that one on the list because it's not really.
I think you can see it on either chart. Right about here, is that it? There's a faint line right there.
Is that red?
Yeah, that is red.
Right there. Okay. So that would be anterior ventrolateral artery. There's a anterior, it's anterior, and it is ventrolateral, and it's in the body wall, so cool. I'm not too worried about that one for what it's worth. But then the next four are really important. These are the four median arteries that run down to the gut off the dorsal aorta. And the first one of these you'll find starting very far forward and running very independently. Doesn't really run through a mesentery, it just kind of runs in space here. And that is the celiac artery. Okay. And that kind of dives in and eventually connects up to this region of the lesser omentum. And it has some branches off of it. Remember there was a pancreatico-mesenteric vein that's draining from the region of the ventral lobe of the pancreas back into the hepatic portal vein. And pancreatico-mesenteric vein is running along right here. And there should be an artery running along with it. Is there anything red in there? Hopefully that's red.
Oh, it's right here next to his
Yeah,
orange one.
there we go.
Yeah.
Okay, right there. This is where you guys have the big advantage of being able to see red. Right there is the, oops, I'm sorry, did you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. The pancreatico-mesenteric artery. And if we follow that along and back, you're going to see that that pops out onto the surface of the intestine, and that's the anterior intestinal artery. Okay, so it runs along there.
That was all one branch?
That's all one branch off of the celiac artery. Okay. There's also a gastrohepatic artery that comes off of the celiac, and that one gives rise to branches that run out to the stomach, which would be the gastric part, and a hepatic branch that runs through the lesser omentum here to the liver. If you see the red there. And that's supplying oxygenated blood to the liver, because the liver needs to get oxygenated blood as well as the nutrient-rich blood coming back from the gut.
Could you point out that branching group?
So there's the hepatic part, there's the gastric part, and they're both coming from here, from the celiac artery, which is this one here that's popping into that region.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the celiac. Then there's the lenogastric. Oops, there's a pin in here. How nice. The lenogastric and anterior mesenteric arteries. And these two come off dorsal aorta very close to each other. The lenogastric you can distinguish because it's running to the region of the spleen. So that's the lenogastric there, and it supplies the spleen and the stomach as it passes through the spleen. And then this one here is the anterior mesenteric that runs to the gut and turns into the posterior intestinal artery as it runs along the gut. Posterior intestinal. Then, last but not least, is the posterior mesenteric artery, and that's the one that goes to the digitiform gland. So here's the digitiform gland, and if I lift it up, do you see that artery going to it? That is the posterior mesenteric artery. Okay. Iliac arteries. Did you guys make that cut? Let's see. You can see them better over on this side. Is that really red? That looks blue to me.
It's
It's
red,
red.
but
It's
yeah, it just
It
has
is?
blue
Yeah.
over it.
It just has some blue over it. Oh, good. Okay, because that should be the iliac artery right
Yeah.
there. So this is a branch that comes off that runs to the pelvic fins, like we have the subclavian going to the pectoral fins. This is the iliac artery running to the pelvic fin, supplying blood to the pelvic fin. Okay. And that's named for the ilium, which is the hip bone in a mammal. Okay. Oh, and femoral arteries and posterior ventrolateral arteries. So I was a little overly ambitious in giving you. The femoral artery is just the name for that iliac artery. When it enters into the pelvic fin, it's called femoral at that point. The posterior ventrolateral artery, again, is going to be in the ventrolateral body wall posteriorly. And can I see it? If I could see red. Is that red at all in there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, okay, well, good, because that's where it should be, but I'm just always not sure of red. That would be the posterior ventrolateral artery. And again, that's not a major one for us, just so you don't want to stress on it. Intersegmental arteries and veins, I'm not going to try to show you, but those are the ones that come off the dorsal aorta. Every myometer gets its own little branch off the dorsal aorta going to that segment. So they're really important, but they're often hard to dissect down to and see very clearly. I don't know, did you guys poke around for them at all?
No.
Not really, okay.
Going to the myomeres, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, I don't.
Renal arteries likewise are coming off the dorsal aorta supplying the kidneys. And again, they're hard to dissect, but it's just good to know that they're there. And that's pretty much it for the circulatory. We have some stuff on the internal structure of the heart, and you're welcome to cut your heart open a